Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Guys, welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where people think they can do whatever the heck they want because they're special. And guys, buckle up, because in today's episode, we've got Karens lying to police, irresponsible parents threatening lawsuits, 5-year-olds hitting other 5-year-olds. It's a wild one. Guys, I hope you enjoy the stories. Hit that subscribe button, and hey, you can now listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So the last flight I was on was an uncomfortable flight with the worst pitch and seat width ever. No one was happy. Everyone was cramped. The configuration of seats was 3x3, so middle seats abounded and were generally full. One middle seat was occupied by Karen and her baby. She was sitting next to an older man in the window seat, and the aisle seat was empty. She then moves to the aisle seat and claimed it for her own. Eventually, a steward noticed, because the aisle seat was for a very special passenger who was boarding last. The stewardess comes up to her and says, excuse me ma'am, but I need to ask you to take your seat. Karen says, I want to sit here. I have a baby. I can't sit in the middle. The steward tells her, this is someone else's seat, ma'am. You have to move. She says, didn't you hear me? I have a baby. I'm not moving. She repeated that while bouncing her fussing crotch monster. The steward says, I can see that, but someone else is sitting in your seat, and we can't switch seats now as we're about to take off. After we're up and the seatbelt signs are off, you can ask him to switch seats. She then screams, no! I have a baby. I can't sit in the middle seat. How come nobody's listening to me? Again, the steward says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you need to be in your assigned seat. I don't make the rules. Please, help me out here. To which Karen says, please help me out here. I have a baby. That's when the steward says, sorry ma'am, but the passengers whose seat you're in can't sit in the middle. He's riding with his dog. Karen then screeches, a dog? I have a baby. I can't sit next to a dog. Now I'm thinking, holy crap, y'all. The steward finally decided that he's just gonna do whatever the heck he needed to get rid of the problem, which happened to be the Karen. So he arranged for her to switch seats in a musical chairs move, so the lady with her baby ended up several rows, and the old man by the window got upgraded to first class for free. And he got the entire row to himself, which he needed because he literally had the largest dog I've ever seen. It looked like a Great Dane. The doggo laid on the floor and his body stretched all across 3 seats. I'm sad the mom basically got what she wanted, but I'm glad the guy with the dog and the old man didn't have to put up with her. And by the way, the people she ended up next to were miserable because, as you'd expect, the baby fussed, and he was allowed to touch people, and she was obnoxious the entire flight. You know what? With the amount of time she mentioned that she had a baby, I'm actually surprised she didn't try to use her baby as a way to get an upgrade to first class. I have a baby. You can't expect me to sit in coach, do you? Even though I paid for coach. Wouldn't that have been an awesome story? But I'm sure someone somewhere out there has tried that approach though, guaranteed. Okay, so this story happened earlier today. I drive a concrete mixer, and I was just getting done pouring a drive-thru for a new Chick-fil-A going up in the area. The drive-thru is fresh and wet cement. There's construction fences all around until the main building structure is completed. The fences all say, stop, construction staff only, except for the one that has the Chick-fil-A coming soon sign. I'm washing down the truck when I hear loud honking. Not thinking anything of it, as I'm in a shopping center, I keep washing the inside of the truck down. I then hear more honking and look over the front to see a Karen with her head out the window. Full Karen haircut. She then screams, move out of the way. You're blocking the effing drive-thru, idiot. I can see she has 2 empty car seats in the back and a sticker in the window saying baby's on board. And I'm glad her kids weren't in the car when this happened. So I come down off the ladder and go to explain that it's not open yet. As I walk towards the car, she starts moving her car closer to me. She's now about 2 feet away from the front of my truck. My truck is back to the building and I keep thinking, how exactly does she expect me to get out? As I get to her window, I let her know nicely that the Chick-fil-A location is not open yet, and I inform her that she'll need to move back so I can move my truck from the fenced-off area. The Karen's having none of it. She's adamant that I move my truck out of the way so she can get into the drive-thru. Well, I tried, I thought. I then asked her to move her car back so I can move my truck out of the fenced area. Once again, she refused to comply and started beeping her horn again. And at this point, I've had it. Now, my truck horn, for those who don't know what one sounds like, it's very, very loud. If you're too close, they can scare you and even give you a ringing in your ears. As she was refusing to move and constantly honking her horn, I decided to show her what mine sounds like, and I laid on it hard. All you can hear is honk, 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 and I start moving forward. You could see the fear in her face as she moved her car back quickly. Now, she must not have checked her rear mirrors or blind spot because she backed up into a stop sign that was about 75 feet away, full force. Now, of course, as soon as she hits the sign, she gets out and she comes over and starts blaming me for her own actions, saying, "You forced me to back into that stop sign. You are paying for all of my damages." She kept screaming at me saying that I rushed her car, so she had to avoid me by backing up as fast as she could, causing the accident. She then calls the cops. The site foreman saw the entire event, but he doesn't speak much English and likely had to deal with various people trying to get into his site, so he just sat back and watched until police arrived. We each told our stories, and of course, Karen made her story sound like it was a life or death situation, where she was a kind woman just trying to make it to the new Chick-fil-A for lunch, and I was blocking it just to be cruel to her for no reason. She told the officer, without warning, I charged her vehicle and forced her to back up into a stop sign full force, and that I should be responsible for paying for her damages. The officer then comes over and asked if that was true. I replied, "No sir, but I do have a dash cam with audio and you can see it if you can play it on the computer." Luckily for me, our foreman offered his laptop. Of course, Karen's story fell apart quick. The officer's face turned to a frown that I swear could have made the Pope feel guilty. He then walks over to her, went straight to his handcuffs, and began to read her rights to her. The woman was charged with obstruction of justice, reckless driving, and misuse of 911. As she was being placed into the back of the police cruiser, I see a man come over with a 2-child stroller that had 2 babies riding in it. The officer explained the situation to him, and he honestly didn't look surprised. He seemed to just nod, and then walked quietly to the car, took pictures, loaded his kids with the stroller, and left. Now, I do feel bad that he had to go through that, but I'm under the impression that it wasn't the first time she's done something like this. I didn't press charges, but I did report everything to my company for their discretion. Oh, silly Karen. Guys, I absolutely love stories where people think they're being crafty with their lies to police, only to get exposed by cameras. Like, in this day and age, you'd almost never want to lie because there's pretty much cameras everywhere. So, a little background. I'm an Iraqi war vet, and I believe in teaching the women and girls in my life to defend themselves with impunity. So at the very young age of 4, I've been teaching my daughter to defend herself. So here's the story. I'm at work one day, and I get this call from my daughter's school. I go outside to answer the phone, and the conversation goes something like this. The principal says, "Hello, I need you to come pick up your daughter." I asked, "Can I ask what this is about?" "Yes, your child's been in a fight and needs to leave the school premise." I ask, "What do you mean she's been in a fight? What happened? I mean, she wouldn't just pick a fight." The principal tells me, "Well, from what we can tell, this kid was running up behind her and he was grabbing her bottom. She apparently warned him to stop, and when he wouldn't, she knocked him out cold." I say to him, "So I'm confused. What's happening to the boy then?" To which the principal says, "Well, your daughter seems to be the aggressor in this situation, and we need her to leave, and she's gonna be suspended." Now, my child at the time lived with my ex-wife, and I had heard from my ex that my kid was having issues with this boy for a while now, and I knew my daughter had gone through many times telling on him to no resolve. I also knew that he had been told many times by teachers to stop, and he hadn't. So I then say, "Wait, so nothing's gonna happen to the boy who's been assaulting my daughter for this amount of time?" The principal tells me, "Well, she did strike him once and knock him out. She needs to learn that violence isn't the answer. She needs to bring it to the attention of a teacher." I then say to him, "Okay, so what I'm hearing is your school is saying that it's okay to assault a girl, and that the girl in question just needs to be a victim of assault over and over again, or be punished. Is that about the gist of it?" Now I can hear silence as the principal mulls over what he just said. I can tell that they're trying to justify this weak tea BS. I compose myself. I then say, "So here's what's gonna happen next. You can either punish both, or punish none of them. Because I promise you, the last thing you want is me and my dress A's and TV reporters showing up and blasting your whole school over this." Now, I can understand that her punching the brat is unacceptable, but what I will not take, and neither will she, is him not being punished as well. Do I make myself clear? The principal is silent, so I say, "Also, why are you calling me and not her mother?" The principal says, "Well, she told us to call you." I then say, you listen to me and you listen good. I swear to you and God that I will not put up with this. I demand a meeting with you, her teacher, and this boy's family. If I can't make it, my ex-wife will. And if this isn't resolved to my liking, I will bring a holy hell upon this whole stick house you've built. Do you understand me? The principal says yes, and I say, good. Call my ex and let her know the time and date. We'll coordinate it from there. So I then hang up and call my ex. She agrees with me, and I go back to work. About a week later, there's a meeting, but unfortunately I have to work and my ex has to go in for me. From what I'm told, the boy's parents try to play it off as boys will be boys and tried to get my daughter expelled as she was being violent and punched him. Now, there are times when I remember why I married my ex, and this is one of them. She proceeds to tell them that the last thing any of them want is for me to get more involved than I already have, and that if I have to, I will bring it all burning down. Every brick. So the outcome was both kids were suspended for 4 days, and the boy moved to a different class. I never got a call like that again. So the moral of the story is my kid's a badass, and she got cake for sticking up for herself. And a lot of love on both ends of me and my ex. Honestly guys, I love how even though OP and his wife were no longer together, they had each other's backs when it came to this. And I'm glad the boy was punished too, and that the boys will be boys crab didn't slide. Someone's gotta teach those parents though that boys will be boys isn't always the best excuse. So this story takes place back when I was a 21-year-old female, a workaholic and completely concentrated on my career. I was working in this beautiful hippie eco-green Buddhist hotel as a trainee general manager. I had just gotten my earned responsibilities and power, and I was enjoying running the place the way I wanted for the first time. Now this hotel was full of very chill, very mellow and spiritual people. You know the type. The kind of people that go on 40-minute rants over how good it is to be connected and aware, while driving a 6-figure sports car and spending daddy's money on tantric yoga lessons. They often forget that outside the resort, people live in houses made of metal slates. Most of my clients were absolutely manageable, and some of them are even nice. I know, right? Incredible. But I do have a nose for the special ones, and while I'm the kindest, most professional manager I can be, if you mistreat my colleagues for no reason, I won't stand for that. So getting to the story. 3 days a week, at a certain time in the morning, my duties include going to the front desk and opening registrations for the circus and trapeze classes. As per usual, I bring a tray of disgusting green smoothies that I pretend to absolutely love for the well-being of my wallet. I'm chatting with the trapeze teacher waiting for registrations for the day, when she comes in. She's blonde. She's so blonde. She's blinding blonde. She had bright pink nails so long that I can only wonder how she's holding her phone without dropping it. She's got on pink shorts and a pink purse that's probably worth a year of my salary, and her eyes are cold. I can feel a shiver running down my spine. That sensation anybody that's worked in a tourist service knows oh so well. I'm thinking, you're about to destroy my mental health today, I know. And the woman's not alone, because the plague follows her and tragedy never comes alone. The Spawn. Her son's about 5 years old, and from the moment he sets foot in the lobby, I know he's one of those terrible, spoiled brats. He starts running around, screaming, touching everything, with music booming from a game on his iPhone. He messes up all the flyers on the table in the center of the room, then stands on the cushions of the sofa to touch the surfboard on top of it, and luckily the surfboard was nailed to the wall. He then keeps running and almost crashes into the glass cigar shelf. The pink Karen doesn't seem fazed by any of this, while I'm holding in a stroke every time he almost slaughters himself on some piece of furniture. I'm almost hoping for the stupid surfboard to fall on him, ending his, my, and his mom's suffering. But let's go back to Barbie. The Karen says, I'd like to register my son for trapeze lessons. Now she said that with no good morning, no how are you, no can my son please destroy your lobby, nothing. And I'm thinking, awesome, you're doing great already. I then put on my best customer service smile and say, good morning. I can sign you up for lessons, but I'm afraid your child's not old enough for it. The minimum age allowed is 6 years old. There's plenty of other classes for him to enjoy, and I can get you some flyers. Could I offer you a smoothie sample? She then huffs and rolls her eyes and says, he's 6 years old. She then grabs a smoothie, not even saying a thank you. And I'm thinking, I hope you choke on it, you liar, because I saw the crotch goblin's passport when you checked in. Did you forget? I then say to her, oh, that's great then. I'll sign you up right away. Can I please have both of your IDs? Karen huffs and puffs again, while her brat tries to grab the fishes in the aquarium. I signal to one of the bellboys to stop him, and he runs while I finish my conversation with the blonde demon mom. They don't pay me enough for this crap. She then says to me with the most bored and condescending tone, "Our passports are in the room. My husband has the keys. Just sign us up." Now, I really wanted to get rid of the woman and her hellspawn, who's currently trying to steal the luggage carriers in the background. So I look at the nice teacher with despair in my eyes, and she quickly says to me in Spanish, "It's fine. He's just 1 year younger. Make her sign a responsibility waiver though, just in case." I nod and put the waiver in front of her, and she signs it and steps out, without saying thank you or a goodbye. But at least she brings the small plague with. Cut to an hour later, under the trapeze, a huge structure made out of metal, big nets, and ropes. One of the two teachers is explaining what they're gonna do step by step, while the other, the girl that was with me in the lobby, is making sure everyone's wearing their safety harnesses correctly. My lunch break's about to end, and I'm sitting at one of the tables at the beachside restaurant, just a few meters away from the structure, which has been assembled on the beach. Now I'm mentally preparing to go back to work, when I hear commotion coming from the group. I look over, spot the desperate look of the nice teacher, and sigh, ending my break early, taking my shoes off to go see what the heck is going on. Once I reach the class, I notice the mom on her phone showing the hot Dominican instructor some Instagram pictures of herself. He's doing a very good job of being nice, but it's clear he wants to do his job and get people on the ladder. Another instructor is waiting for them at the top. Now Blondie is completely ignoring what's causing the commotion. Her little son of Satan is running around the nice teacher giggling, and she's holding the harness for the kid with a look of despair in her eyes. The nice teacher says, "Hey, I need you to stay still for a second, hun. Let me put this on you, and then you can climb." The boy keeps running around, pushing people and kicking sand, but the word climb gives him an even better idea. He then starts to climb the incredibly tall rope ladder, without any security measures or a helmet. Now he can only get up like 5 steps when the hot Dominican teacher that was standing near the ladder grabs him by the leg and says, "Hey buddy, you can't go up there if you don't let the teacher put the security belts on you." He says that as he's trying to get him off, but the kid grabs the ladder with both hands and just clings onto it, and starts to screech like he's being dismembered. He's screaming, "Let me go! Mommy, he won't let me climb the ladder and go up." The woman says, "Let him go. He can put it on once he's up there." I then tell her, "This is against regulations, ma'am. He needs to wear the harness before going on the platform." She shushes me with her hand and goes back to her phone. The two instructors manage to get the harnesses on him with a huge effort. They're trying to explain to him what he'll have to do once he's up there, that another teacher is going to hook him up to the security rope, and they'll put up a little stool so he can reach the trapeze. And do you think he's listening? No, he's not. He just sprints and runs up the ladder, and the two teachers just let him go with defeated looks. I'm watching this with a gargantuan hope that he'll splat on the net. Now, of course, everybody was expecting that once up there, he would not listen to the expert like a normal person. He just leapt towards the bar, missing it, and falling down. Now, the boy falls on the net, of course, and thanks to the safety harness and the hook that lifted him while he was falling, slowing him down, he's totally unharmed, apart from the lines on his face that makes him look like a freshly grilled hamburger. Of course he cries, and mommy screams going to pick up her crying child. She then turns to me and screams to my face, "My son could have died. I'm going to sue you." I told her, "He was never in danger thanks to the security measures, ma'am. And your son's not following simple directions. I can't allow him in this class if he won't listen to the rules for his security." She then screams at me, "He's just a kid. It's your staff's responsibility to take care of him during activities. This is too dangerous for a child." I told her, "I advised you not to register him due to his young age, and you took responsibility and you signed the waiver." I'm having this discussion with the mother while everybody else is just stunned at this woman. The crying plague was rescued from the net, and apparently the wailing was just a trick, because once hamburger-faced kid's off the net, while no one's looking, he runs back to the ladder, ready to climb again. The teacher's having none of it. He tries again to pull him off the ladder with more strength this time. And again, the little kid clings and screams and shakes the ladder and kicks until he breaks it. He apparently turned the metal steps so much that it unscrewed. Now that's interesting. I can work with that. He then falls on the sand with the teacher wailing again, and his mom rushes to him and grabs his hand. She screams, "I want to talk to the manager right now. This place is falling to pieces. It's dangerous, I want to make a complaint, and I want these incompetent people fired. And I also want compensation for my son's wounds." I take a step towards her. My customer service smile is long gone, as it's turned into a cold expression of satisfaction for her foreseeable demise. I then say to her, "Ma'am, I'm the manager, and I have no intention of taking responsibility for the reckless behavior of your child. He ignored any security measures, direction, and he damaged the structure. Considering all this and the fact that you signed a legal waiver, I'm gonna have to charge you for the damage that your son caused to the hotel." Now you have no idea the pleasure I felt saying those words. She then opens her eyes fully for the first time since I saw her, and she starts insulting pretty much everybody while getting her stuff and dragging the little wailing Satan behind her. She's screaming at me, "You bitch, I'm not paying for anything. This place is crap. You have no idea who I am. I can get so many lawyers on your ass that you'll have to shut down. We are never coming back to this effing savage country." I just signal two security guys to come over and wave her on her way out. I then say, "My employees will take you to the empty room, call you a cab, and you'll hear from the hotel legal team soon enough. Have a great rest of your day." My boss and I had such a laugh the day after, and the husband actually did pay for the damage, so maybe he isn't that much of an a-hole. So leave it up to an entitled Karen to cause a ruckus and then threaten to sue, right? That seems to be the rich entitled Karen's secret weapon. Paying for lawyers. Hey, maybe that's how they got rich in the first place, right? And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /Entitled People. Guys, if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'll link it right here. A Karen picks a fight with a boxer and she gets beat up and then demands police get called. It's such a crazy story, so go check it out if you haven't. And myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.